Step 5 of Narcotics Anonymous.
We admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. It sounds straightforward, maybe,
Right.
but there's so much packed into that sentence.
Right. So if you're listening, maybe you're approaching this step or perhaps revisiting it. Our goal today is to really get into the weeds, explore what it truly means, how you actually work it, and why it's such a linchpin for recovery.
Exactly. We want to give you a really solid understanding. So for this, we're pulling from the core NA texts, the basic text, 6th edition, the insights from It Works, How and Why, and also the practical help in the NA step working guides.
Our mission, then, is to go beyond just defining Step 5. We want to offer a clear, structured, and, insightful look to help you really grasp and apply its principles.
It's about equipping you for this crucial stage.
Okay, so first things first. Step 5 doesn't exist in a vacuum, right?
Right.
Where does it sit in the whole sequence of the 12 steps? What's the lead up?
Good question. It comes directly after Step 4, which is that searching and fearless moral inventory. Step 4 is where you do the deep dive into writing it all down.
The inventory, yeah. All the details.
Right, meticulously listing things out. Step 5 then takes that written inventory and turns it into the action of admission. It's the bridge, really.
Hit a bridge between what?
Between that internal work, the self-examination of Step 4, and the more outward-focused actions like making amends that come later. It totally depends on the groundwork laid before it.
Meaning the honesty, the courage.
Exactly. The honesty from Step 1, the hope and faith from 2, the willingness from 3, and the sheer courage it took to even do Step 4. You need all that to step into 5.
Okay, so you've done the writing in Step 4, but just reading that list isn't Step 5, is it? The step says admitted. What's the power in actually saying it?
That's the core of it. The spiritual growth, the shift, it comes from the act of admission itself. It's not just reviewing the data, it's verbalizing the truth. And think about addiction. It thrives on secrets, on denial, on minimizing. Speaking these things aloud starts to break that power. It shatters the denial.
Okay. And the phrase, exact nature of our wrongs, what does that really mean? Is it just the bad things we did?
It goes deeper. It's not just what you did, but why. What was going on underneath? What were the patterns, the fears, the resentments, the character defects that were driving those behaviors?
So it's about understanding the root causes.
Precisely. That's where you start to see the exact nature, the underlying flaws in thinking and feeling that led to the actions. This is where those character defects really start to come into focus, setting the stage for Step 6.
Got it. So it's peeling back layers. Now the step specifies 3 distinct admissions.
Yep.
To God, to ourselves, and to another human being. Let's break those down. First, admitting to God.
Right. And the literature points out, your higher power, as you understand God, likely already knows all this stuff.
So why say it?
Because you need to say it. It has to come from your lips. It's about you breaking your own denial, facing yourself fully in the presence of that higher power. It's an act of surrender and honesty on your part.
So it's about my relationship with my higher power, my willingness to be totally open.
Exactly. And the step-working guides suggest praying for help, for the willingness and courage to actually do it. Because, it can be scary. It's about acknowledging your truth out loud, making it real for you.
Okay, that makes sense. Then there's admitting to ourselves. Isn't that kind of implied if we did Step 4? Haven't we already admitted it internally?
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But like we said, denial is powerful. We might have written things down, maybe even felt some regret, but actually hearing yourself say these things aloud, it hits differently.
How so?
It cuts through the justifications, the minimizing. Hearing the words in your own voice forces you to confront the reality, the consequences, the patterns, in a way that just thinking about it often doesn't achieve.
So it's another layer of breaking denial.
A huge layer.
Yeah.
It requires rigorous self-honesty. You have to let the feelings come up, the shame, the guilt, the sadness, without immediately trying to push them away or explain them away. It takes real courage to just sit with the truth of your own past actions.
Facing the music, so to speak. Okay, now the third one. Admitting to another human being. This feels like the one that often causes the most anxiety. Why is this part necessary?
It's absolutely crucial. For one, it shatters the isolation that addiction breeds. Secrets keep us sick, right? Sharing them with another trusted person breaks that pattern.
And what else? What does the other person bring?
Perspective. They can offer an objective view that we often lack about ourselves. They might see patterns we missed, or gently point out where we might still be blaming others or minimizing our role. They act like a mirror.
A mirror for blind spots.
Exactly. Plus, the simple act of being heard, truly heard, and accepted despite your flaws is incredibly healing. It connects you back to humanity, showing you you're not alone in your struggles.
So finding the right person is key then. Who should that be? Just any friend.
Well, the guidance suggests choosing carefully. Ideally, it's someone who understands recovery, maybe someone who's done this step themselves, like a sponsor.
What qualities are important?
Compassion, definitely. Integrity, you need to trust. We'll keep it confidential. They should be non-judgmental, willing to listen, and importantly, have the insight to help keep the focus on your part, your wrongs, not get sidetracked. Your sponsor often fits this bill perfectly.
Okay, that makes sense. It feels like working through these three admissions really strengthens a lot of the spiritual principles talked about in NA.
Oh, absolutely. Step 5 is like a crucible for these principles. Honesty, for example. It takes the honesty from step 1 and cranks it up several notches.
Yeah, admitting this stuff out loud is a whole different level of honest.
And courage. Facing the fear of judgment, of rejection, of just seeing yourself clearly, that takes immense courage. Trust is huge too.
Trust in who?
Trust in your higher power to see you through it, and trust in that other person you choose to share with. That act of vulnerability builds trust like almost nothing else.
And it builds on earlier steps too, right?
Definitely. The faith and hope that might have sparked in step 2, get real traction here. You're acting on that hope. And it's a direct application of the willingness from step 3. You're willing to go to any lengths, including this potentially uncomfortable admission.
What else? Any other principles really shine here?
Humility gets a workout.
Yeah.
You really see your own flaws, your own part in things. It puts you on level ground with everyone else. We're all human, all fallible. That often leads to more self-acceptance.
How so?
When you share your deepest secrets and you're met with acceptance, not condemnation, it helps quiet that harsh inner critic. You start to develop compassion, both for yourself and for others who struggle. And underlying it all is surrender, letting go of the secrets, the shame, the need to hide.
Wow, okay. So when someone really works this step, what are the payoffs? What changes?
The biggest one, usually, is freedom. Freedom from secrets, freedom from shame, that saying we're only as sick as our secrets. Step 5 is the antidote. It's like lancing a boil, painful maybe, but leads to immense relief.
That release must feel incredible.
It really can. You also build much stronger connections with your higher power, with the person you shared with, and, importantly, with yourself. Trust deepens. Self-acceptance grows.
Any other benefits?
Yeah, you gain real insight into the exact nature of your wrongs. Those patterns become clearer. Because you've likely been met with acceptance, you tend to judge yourself less harshly. People often report feeling more whole, less fragmented, more like they belong. And critically, it prepares you for step 6.
How does it prepare you for 6?
By clearly identifying those character defects you just admitted, you become aware of what needs to change. Step 5 shows you the what, so into step 6 you can become entirely ready to have God remove them.
It sounds powerful, but also intense. What kind of feelings should someone expect? Is it all relief afterwards?
Not always immediately. It's very common to feel fear leading up to it, even anguish afterwards. You might feel emotionally raw, vulnerable, like you've had surgery of the spirit, as some put it.
Exposed, maybe?
Definitely exposed.
Yeah.
There could even be an urge to pull away from the person you told, like, oh God, they know everything now.
So what do you do with those feelings?
Talk about them. That's what the fellowship is for. Share with other recovering addicts, especially your sponsor. Hearing that others felt the same way normalizes it and provides huge relief. Knowing it's part of the process helps you move through it.
Right, connecting with others who get it. So how does step 5 set up the next steps beyond just preparing for 6?
Well, the clarity you gain is massive. Understanding your patterns, your defects, that directly inform steps 6 and 7, which are about becoming ready for and asking for those defects to be removed. The books warn you not to skip 6 and 7 after 5.
Why is that?
Because if you don't address the causes you just uncovered, you're likely to repeat the same harmful behaviors. You'll just create more wreckage.
Makes sense. What about step 8?
The insights from 4 and 5 are exactly what you use to make your list of people you've harmed in step 8, preparing to make amends. You see your part much more clearly.
And step 10?
Step 10 involves continuing to take personal inventory and promptly admitting when we're wrong. So, the skills you practice in step 5, self-awareness, honesty, prompt admission, become tools for daily living, providing ongoing freedom.
Okay, this is incredibly helpful. If someone listening is getting ready to take step 5, what practical things might they think about beforehand?
Good idea. Maybe spend some time reflecting. What are your specific fears about sharing? Rejection, judgment, being seen differently. Get honest about those.
Okay.
Also, what do you hope to get out of it? Relief, acceptance, Deeper self-understanding. Clarifying your hopes can strengthen your willingness. Think about both the fears and the hopes.
Be real about avoidance, too.
Absolutely. Ask yourself, am I putting this off?
Yeah.
Making excuses. Why? And one more subtle point, while the focus must be on your wrongs, briefly consider if there's a way to share that minimizes unintentional harm to others mentioned in your inventory. The focus stays on you, but sensitivity matters.
Really valuable things to mull over. So, wrapping this up, step 5 is clearly way more than just reading a list. It's this incredibly powerful act of admission, honest, courageous, connecting.
It truly is. It breaks isolation, deepens self-awareness, and unlocks a new level of freedom and healing that's essential for ongoing recovery.
It's a cornerstone for building that new life.
Without a doubt, it paves the way for genuine change and more authentic relationships all around.
So as a final thought for everyone listening today, think about one secret, maybe something smaller, maybe something bigger, that you're still holding on to, something that carries a bit of weight.
You don't have to share it right now, not at all.
No, just acknowledge its presence for yourself.
Oh,
And then reflect on these principles we've talked about, that radical honesty, the courage it takes to face things, the potential healing power of connection. Just consider internally what might shift if that secret saw the light of day, even just the light of your own awareness.
yeah. Just sit with that possibility. See how the ideas from step 5 resonate with that private experience.
Yeah.
It's something to explore as you continue your journey.